Hello crafty friends, this is the Papered Chef here. In today's Brother ScanNCut tutorial, you are going to learn how to take the Let It Snow Designer Series paper and transform it so that you can decorate these cute little treat boxes with it. We sell these clear treat boxes at Stampin' Up. Now for years, I've been cutting out the pieces to put inside them manually. You can't really get a piece that's 2 inches or it won't quite slip in there. If you put pieces in there and then try to bend them, you might not quite score at the right spot. And this year I said, self, why am I doing this with a paper trimmer? I have a ScanNCut. Why am I even trying to cut these pieces manually? Okay, so I'm just going to go over the overall concept with you right now. Then I'm going to jump to my computer where we're going to use the Canvas Workspace software, which is free for you to use. And then I'm going to come back, we're going to cut these out, and I'm going to show you how to decorate these boxes. Okay, here's the overall concept. You could cut the pieces with a paper trimmer, all right? Then you could score them with a scoreboard or simply scored. However, the Brother ScanNCut allows you to create shapes, weld them together, and it even allows you to create score lines. Okay, so this shape here that we're going to put inside the clear treat boxes is really just 2 rectangles that we are going to weld together, and then we're going to create a square shape in the middle, and we're going to add score lines to that shape or create dashed lines, which are score lines, and we're going to be able to slip this right into the tiny treat box. Boom! Instant decoration. Then, of course, at the end of this video, I will show you several projects that I created using the Stampin' Up! Clear Tiny Treat Boxes and the Let It Snow Suite by Stampin' Up! All right, so I will see you in the next part of this tutorial where we will work with the software. Now, your homework is, before you continue, or you can continue, but you need to go do this homework. You need to make sure that your Brother ScanNCut, it doesn't matter which model you have. Well, it does matter. Just make sure your Brother ScanNCut is wirelessly enabled. If you have a CM350, that means you need a wireless activation card. That's a ScanNCut too. If you have an SDX model, they come wireless ready. No activation card is needed. In the description of this video are my tutorials on how to set up your wireless using your Brother ScanNCut. So please go watch one of those tutorials based on the model. You either have a DX model or you have a CM model, and as long as your model is wireless capable, you can follow one of my tutorials, and that way your machine, your ScanNCut machine, will talk to your software. Okay, this is all free except for the activation card that you would need with the ScanNCut 2. So without further ado, I will see you in the next part of this tutorial, and I will show you how to create this easy project. Thank you. In this part of the tutorial, we will create the liner for your clear tiny treat box. The first thing you need to do is go to canvasworkspace.brother.com. After you have signed in, you're going to see your username. Mine is Papered Chef. If you've never set up your Canvas Workspace before, please review my tutorials on setting up your wireless on your machine. I have a tutorial for the SDX 125 and one for the CM350. Okay, now we are in Canvas Workspace. You are logged in. You see your username. You're going to create a new project. Click on the New button. Once you have a new project and you can see the mat, click on Basic on the left side under Pattern. Although we will be creating a rectangle, I'd always like to just start with a square and then I resize it as needed. I clicked on a square to add one to the screen. Before I change the dimensions precisely, I first use my mouse to get the dimensions generally the way I want them. So in this example, I'm going to create a rectangle that's a little smaller than 6 by 2 inches. So I'll just eyeball it with my mouse. I'll just do it, and then I will show you how to change the dimensions precisely. Okay, that's about the shape I want. And now I'm going to go change it to the exact dimensions I want, going into the properties. So first click on properties, and then watch how I type the exact dimensions. First, I want to uncheck the maintain aspect ratio button. That way I can change the width and the height independently of each other. After a lot of experimentation, I determined that 1.96 by 5.90 is a perfect size for the rectangle to fit inside our clear tiny treat box. Close the properties box. Now that we have the rectangle the size we want, we're going to duplicate it by clicking on Edit. Click the Duplicate button. I'm going to click on the top rectangle, and I'm going to hold the Shift key, and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. The reason for holding the Shift key when I rotated was to make sure that I'm rotating in exactly 90-degree angles. Okay, and also notice that I grabbed the little green dot when I rotated, that little handle there. Now I'm going to select both objects, and I'm going to go up to Edit, and now I'm going to align them to the center of each other and horizontally in relation to each other. Notice how they're both aligned exactly, and now I'm going to weld them together. I'm going to deselect them just so you see what I mean. Let me deselect them. Right now, if I were to cut this, I would end up with 5 squares. So we want to make sure this is welded together into one piece. So I'm going to go ahead and select them again and weld the shapes together. To select them, I drag my mouse around both of those objects, and I'm going up to Edit again. And where it says Process Overlap, I'm selecting Weld. Now I have one shape, and notice how I can move it around as one. Now we're going to create a square to go into the middle of this cross shape. And then we're going to have dashed lines on the square so that the dashed lines are going to be where we score this box. Okay, so let's go over to Basic Shapes and add a square to the mat. First, I'll make the square about the size I want it, and then I will go up to the properties to change the exact dimensions. This time, because it is a square, I can check off Maintain Aspect Ratio. And now I want to change the square to 1.96. After I typed 1.96 and hit enter, both values changed to 1.96 because maintain aspect ratio was checked off. Close the properties box. Drag your mouse around both objects. Watch how I do this. And then I'm going to go up to edit, and you're going to go up to edit, I should say. And you're going to align these again, horizontally and vertically in relation to each other. First, I drag my mouse around to select both objects and go up to edit. Now that my middle square is properly aligned, I can change the lines around the square to be dashed lines. I'm going to select the square. I'm going to go up to Properties. And at the bottom where it says Dash Pattern, you'll see that it's currently a solid line. And I'm going to change that to the first dash pattern. This will create score lines for our little liner of our box. Close the Properties box. And what I just did there is I deselected by clicking away. I clicked off of the object just to show you that there's a dash pattern. I'm going to zoom in to give you a better view of that. And then I'm going to group the square in the middle to the cross on the outside, and I'm going to group those two objects so that they move as one. But first, let me zoom in to show you the dash line we created. There are the dashed lines, and they are going to be our score lines for our liner of our clear tiny treat box. To group the objects, first you select them both by dragging around them with a mouse. Now that both objects are selected, go up to Edit and group them. Notice how I can move those as one object now that they are grouped. I'm going to zoom back out. I placed the cross in the upper left-hand corner of our screen, which is where I'll cut it. And then I just wanted to let you know that the next step is that I'm going to show you how to save it, because you can then reuse this project again later. We're going to save it here in Canvas Workspace so that you can refer to it again. And then I'm going to show you how to transfer it to your Brother ScanNCut. So first, save it. I am calling this file the Clear Tiny Treat Box Liner. You can name it whatever you want. I'm clicking Overwrite this project. It's just a habit that I'm into. Once you click Overwrite this project, that is how you resave the project every time you make even the tiniest change. Click on the Overwrite this project button. Now we're ready to transfer the file to our machine. Click the Download button. Click Scan and Cut Transfer. I will see you in the next part of this tutorial, where we will retrieve the file and cut it out on our Brother ScanNCut machine. Thank you. You have created the liner for your clear tiny treat box. Now let's take a look at this designer series paper by Stampin', which will be linked in the description below. and you can purchase it from me. It's beautifully foiled paper. Now this is a great pattern, this one here, because this goes in every direction. So this is perfect for a tiny treat box to line it with. Okay, I'm just going to show you the one side of each paper. The coordinating colors are Shaded Spruce, Coastal Cabana, Real Red, Flirty Flamingo, Blueberry Bushel, and Whisper White. Okay, so all of these coordinating colors help you when you're designing your projects. Now this is the other side, which would also be great for the tiny treat boxes. Now this piece here would not be good for the tiny treat box. The snowmen are too good to cut out and use for those little boxes. These would be too big for the boxes. And I showed the other day how to cut this paper out using the background scanning feature. And these are better to be cut out in circles or other shapes, but don't use those for your tiny treat box. This one's perfect for the tiny treat box because look at all the mittens. In fact, let's use that one right now. I'm going to use a piece of that one right now. The mittens. And this one again, use this for note cards and backgrounds for cards because it's too big for the tiny treat box. And this piece here. So you got to see all the pieces in the Specialty Designer Series paper stack. And so far I've just loaded a piece onto the mat. I'm using the mittens piece. When you turn on your machine, you're going to see pattern and scan. And now you want to, sorry I shook my camera, I had to go get my stylus. So you're going to select retrieve data. Okay, so that's what you're going to see. Right beneath the word pattern is retrieve data. You're retrieving it from Canvas Workspace because that's where we designed it. So click on Canvas Workspace. That's the second one with the little wireless icon. There is the treat box. So I'm going to go ahead and edit and zoom in just so you can see it real well. Okay, and maybe some more. Maybe a little bit out. Okay, so I'm just going to select off of it. It's kind of right on the lines. That's why it might be hard to see. Okay, so that's the tiny treat box that we just designed. And it's kind of sitting right over the grid lines, and that's why it's kind of hard to see. All right, you didn't need to move it around or anything. I was just showing you that that's our box. So let's just say okay. And we'll say okay again. And we're just going to cut the box. We're using AutoBlade technology with the SDX machine. But if you were using if you're using the CM350 right now, you're going to still retrieve data and you're going to find your file wirelessly. But when you cut specialty paper like this, Specialty Designer Series paper, then I suggest for the CM350 to use a blade depth of 4. Normally you would use a blade depth of 3 with Designer Series paper, but if you're using a CM350, use a blade depth of 4. We, again, do not need to set our blade depth because I'm showing you right now on the SDX 125. The DX models have AutoBlade technology, so we don't need to set the blade depth. It just determines the blade depth it needs automatically, which is great. Now, once you bring this file to your machine, you could duplicate it. And you could, after duplicating it and moving it around a little bit, you can fit 4 of these pretty accurately, like pretty tightly, onto one piece of Designer Series paper. But when you're using the software, you can't put 4 of those on there because the software has a bigger margin than the machine itself. And in the software, it will not let you put 4 of these on the mat at the same time. Okay, the noise you're hearing is the box is scoring. And the way that Brother ScanNCut scores is by creating dashed lines. It doesn't score the same way you might be used to if you have a Cricut, which has a scoring tool. It doesn't do that. It creates a dashed line. That's great for us. It makes the box very easy, but I don't prefer using dashed lines for cards. I like using dashed lines for little boxes like this. And in my Brother ScanNCut course, I teach you how to create your own envelopes using the same technique I'm showing you right now. And the course I'm referring to is the card making for the Brother ScanNCut course. So there'll be information about the courses, the ScanNCut courses I teach. Wow, that was kind of loud. I'm sorry about that. But I didn't want to stop the recording because I didn't think it would take so long. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to just say okay. And we're going to unload the mat. So now we're done with that part of we're done with the ScanNCut. And I'm going to show you how to transform this into a cute little tiny treat box. So we have, there's one here as an example. We're going to peel this off the mat. Okay, it was a great pattern to use because the mittens are going in all the different directions, and it's already pre-scored for us, so that's really nice. And you just score it. Okay, I mean you just fold it along the score lines. So now you have this piece of paper which will slip right into your tiny treat box. Okay, so far so good. Let me make some room on my table because of course I have lots of things to show you, as I do at the end of all my videos. In fact, let's put this right there. Now our tiny treat boxes are really high quality, and this is what I mean. I mean, you can buy packaging material from other places, but Stampin' Up! Goes the extra mile. When you buy clear tiny treat boxes from us, you will see that they're protected with yet another piece of plastic. So first I'm just opening up the clear tiny treat boxes. You get 16 in a pack, and I'll have a link. If you're in the US, you can purchase these from me at my store. If you're in another country, I'll get you in touch with someone else, but I can only sell to the US. But these will be linked. You get 16 little boxes. They're really high quality. First, what I do is, just so I don't get my fingerprints all over the box, is I fold the boxes along the score lines. And then I peel off the protective coating. Like I said, Stampin' Up! Is never shabby. We do not do shabby packaging. And whenever I can, I buy the packaging material from Stampin' Up!, but then sometimes they retire the items and I have to find other sources. Okay, this is a piece of plastic that came off the box, so you can see how nice the box is, and it's also very strong. So let's now shut. We're going to shut the little bottom flap. In fact, let's try to get a piece of darker red paper maybe behind me here, so you can maybe see that a little better. So what I'm doing is I'm folding that flap, and then I'm folding these two little side pieces in. Okay, and then I'm folding the bottom little piece like that. Okay, so now we're ready to load delicacies into our box. So we take our little liner, which fits perfectly in the box because the papered chef has determined the measurements for you. You know, thinking needed. You just need to get the paper in the treat boxes and you're ready to go. Follow along with the tutorial. Okay, so it fits in there. And it's going to go down a little bit more once you weigh it down with some little treats. Okay, so now, if you've been following my channel, you know that I like to use lots of Hershey nuggets and Hershey miniatures and things like that. So I like to wrap. I did a tutorial on how to create Hershey nugget treats. This one needs a topper still, using your ScanNCut. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just take some Hershey nuggets that are wrapped. I'm going to put them in the box. Okay, and these are ones that I'm not using for treats. I'm just going to put them in this one. So you can put about 6 in here, but I like to put at the top one of these other ones, the miniatures. So you can put 3 layers of nuggets. They lay in here side by side, which is really nice. Okay, and they're all using coordinating papers from the suite. Now this one's a good one to wrap nuggets in. So the snowman pattern that you saw is good for wrapping the nuggets, the piece of designer series paper, whereas the mittens is good for the box itself. Okay, so now let's do one more nugget, and then I'm going to show you. What I do is I put the miniature over here like that, and it stays in tight, and it's really cute when you can peek in the top of the box. That's just one way, but I have other ones I'm going to show you. Okay, and then you shut it, and now it would be cute as it is, but let's go another step further, right? We have total cuteness here, just like we did with our nuggets, and you can put little snowmen on them from the Let It Snow suite. I taught how to cut out stamped images using your ScanNCut. Okay, you've learned how to do that, so you can put a snowman on the front of the box. You can put it on the top of the box. Just watch that its little hat doesn't get too bent when the box is opened. Okay, there's a little glitter snowman that you can use the snowman builder punch to cut out the glittery snowman, and the embellishment kit to put little hats in there. And then you can put little extra things, let it snow, etc. Okay, so let me show you my projects now that we've shown you how to decorate this box. And here are some things I've done with it. So this snowman we cut out in circles the other day using the ScanNCut. So that's a piece of designer series paper. And what I did is I opened up the front of that one and then covered the sides using that other paper. And I'm using the curly red ribbon and just a little dimensional to hold on Let It Snow on there. That is stamped in blueberry bushel with Coastal Cabana in the background. And this one here, I'm using a stamp set called Birds of a Feather. And in that stamp set, it says, enjoy the season. And that's where I got that sentiment from. But the Let It Snow is from the Snowman Season stamp set. And so is the little snowman. I taught how to cut out the little hats using the ScanNCut on this channel. And I'm using real red ribbon for this one. Okay, moving on, we have another one where I have the Let It Snow on the top instead of on the front, or instead of putting the sentiment on the front, and I have Let It Snow and the circle. Again, I open up the front of that. To open up the front of your box, since these are already perforated, you're just going to bend this and peel this off and use it for something else. And then you have 3 sides of the box. So sometimes I let the front of the box be open. That was if the background was a little too busy. Like I thought that was a little too busy to put the snowman on. I wanted it to stand out. So I put the snowman by itself and put it clear in the box. And I'm going to show you what would be in that. The reason I like it to be kind of see-through is because in this kind of box, you have different kinds of candies. Okay, again, just the same, what I was telling you with the miniatures decorated. But see, now you can peek in, you can see, oh, fun, there's a little candy cane in there. Some Hershey Kisses, some of them are Santa Hershey Kisses, some more nuggets. And the nuggets, I stood them up so you can kind of see through, peek in the box. Okay, that's why I wanted the front of that box to be open a little bit so you can sort of peek in and see what's in there. All right, so let's see what else we have. That one, this one is a little different. Every box is going to be different, and that's what's fun. If you have these at a craft fair, then people can pick them up, peek inside, see what's in them. And this one has blueberry bushel ribbon. I will link to the materials I used. So the curly ribbon is part of the Let It Snow suite. The blueberry bushel ribbon is just something that's in our annual catalog. And what else? Here's one I just did with just white. Just do the same concept. Cut it out in white cardstock. Then use the Let It Snow Snowman Embellishment Kit to put a little snowman face on your snowman. And the snowman face, it looks like you've done some embossing, but these are really fun coal stickers and carrot stickers that are part of our Let It Snow Embellishment Kit. And then I put a little snowflake on top of there that I had left over from my Countdown to Christmas kit. All right, so speaking of now, just want to show you how you can change up the whole color scheme. I just showed you how to do this with Let It Snow. And I want to show you can change up the whole entire color scheme. And in this case, I used cherry cobbler, okay? And I used some cherry cobbler. I used Christmas Time Is Here to wrap the candies on the inside of this box. And I used some Dashing Along retired paper I had, because look what you can do with it now. You can do this to absolutely any papers, any designer series papers you have. This is our Countdown to Christmas kit. And these little tiny treat boxes. And I've also done a video on YouTube about what's in my drawers, and you can see 25 things you can put down and put inside your Countdown to Christmas calendar project kit. Super easy to make. So let me just show you what I mean. These tiny treat boxes that you can decorate, if you use the coordinating colors, for instance, this is cherry cobbler. It's part of the Countdown to Christmas kit, comes with all these pieces. You can just take out the drawers and you can put in these tiny treat boxes. How fun is that? So that when they're done taking the number out, you can fill up this again with more treats. And so at Christmas time, after they've already done the Countdown to Christmas, someone can have 25 little boxes of things that they can open once again, because you're replacing those with these little tiny treat boxes. That's just another idea of what to do. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial on creating are using Canvas Workspace to create the liners for the tiny treat boxes. Please feel free to comment below in this video, because I'd like to know what you think about it. And let me know if this is the first time you've used Canvas Workspace, because we do a lot more with this software in my courses, and I want to see how I'm going to gauge my audience comfortability with the software. All right, well, thank you. This is the Paper Chef. I'll see you next time.